What is going on, Pats Nation? It's Patriots Global here, back with another video, and in this one, we got some trade rumors going around, but not for somebody that New England could potentially bring onto the team as an addition, but someone New England could be shipping off. Now, multiple teams have called New England about a trade for the former first-round pick and wide receiver N'Keal Harry. Now, it is worth mentioning that New England has not said they're shopping him. New England has not said, hey, we're putting N'Keal Harry on the trade block. Go ahead and tell us your offers for him. No. Teams are calling saying, hey, are you shipping off N'Keal Harry by chance? Are you willing to trade him? We're interested in a potential trade for him. I saw NFL.com write an article saying, N'Keal Harry trade interest. Patriots are fielding trade inquiries on the wide receiver. New England is, of course, listening, as I'm sure any team would, but do not get it twisted. Just because New England is hearing what teams have to say does not mean that they're trading him, not that they're willing to trade him, or even that they're shopping him for that matter. Now, the teams that I've heard are interested are the Arizona Cardinals, which makes a ton of sense, the New York Giants, and the San Francisco 49ers. More teams could potentially be interested, especially if the Patriots do come out and say, hey, we are willing to ship him off and we are shopping him. But as of now, at least, those are the three teams that we have heard that are interested and have called about a trade for N'Keal Harry. So clearly, there is a market for N'Keal Harry, despite how he's produced. Now, N'Keal was a first-round pick by the New England Patriots in just the 2019 draft, not too long ago. He has 2 more years left on his contract. He's already played 2 years in the NFL. Things have not exactly gone as planned. He has not panned out the way Belichick, Patriots organization, or Patriots fans have hoped he would. He's still very young. He has a lot more years in the NFL if he can pan out a whole lot better than he has the last 2 years. Just 23 years old, and he brings a great height, great build at wide receiver. 6'4", 225 pounds. Big reason the Patriots even drafted him back in 2019, because they thought that he could be their X receiver. He could be that receiver that they needed on the outside that could provide them at a mismatch. And sadly, that's not what happened. It is worth noting, too, that Belichick has drafted receivers in the past, but he usually drafts a mid to late round. Belichick had never drafted a wide receiver in the first round ever in his entire career. N'Keal Harry was the first guy, and it's not looking like a great decision. Now, when the Patriots originally drafted N'Keal Harry, it looked like it was going to be a great pick. Going into training camp, and N'Keal Harry was looking really good. He was beating all of the defensive backs that New England had. Then they started putting up against Stephon Gilmore, and that, of course, is when he started to struggle. But Stephon Gilmore that year was the defensive player of the year. So it wasn't really anything that personally worried me. Then you went into the one preseason game he had, because he did get injured against the Lions in the preseason. He looked spectacular. But he did get very injured in that game, which did limit the amount that he was able to play his rookie year. His first year in the NFL with the Pats, he only appeared in 7 games, starting in 5 of them. He was targeted 24 times, 12 receptions, 105 yards, averaging 8.8 yards per reception, and 2 touchdowns. Let's keep in mind that was with Tom Brady. 2020, Cam Newton comes in. Definitely a bit of a wonky offseason, for the whole NFL. N'Keal Harry, for the most part, is able to stay healthy. He only appears in 14 games in 2020. He starts in 9 of those 14 games. He was targeted 57 times. 57 times compared to the 24 his rookie season, with only 33 receptions out of those 57 targets for 309 yards, averaging 9.4 yards per reception, and of course, 2 touchdowns. N'Keal's catch percentage over the past 2 seasons he's been in the NFL, not great. He only had a 50% catch completion in 2019 and a 57.9 in 2020. Now, it looked like something the Patriots liked to do with N'Keal Harry in 2019 was use him as a little bit of a running back in source. They did a lot of end-arounds on him, jet sweeps. Well, I can't say a lot, but they gave him about 5 attempts. Let's keep in mind that he only played 7 games. And it looked like he was doing pretty well with those. I mean, 49 yards total. He had a long run of 18 yards. And us Patriots fans wanted to see New England do more of that with him. In 2020, they tried it only 2 times with him. He got 0 yards out of it. And his longest run was of 2 yards. I'm guessing he only has 0 yards because the other attempt went for negative yards. Now, personally, looking back at the selection of N'Keal Harry, I can understand why New England liked him. But at the same time, I don't necessarily completely understand why they drafted him because he's not really the receiver, the classic New England receiver that they usually bring on. The thing about N'Keal Harry is that he has a great upper body. The type of receiver he is a 50-50 type of ball catcher. You throw it up, he has strong hands, he can go up and he can grab it. N'Keal Harry has proven that in the NFL in the limited time and limited opportunities that he's been given. The sad thing, though, is N'Keal Harry is not fast. He's not going to get down the field fast. He's not going to get off the line of scrimmage fast, and he cannot get separation. His footwork is terrible. That's why last offseason he worked with the footwork king to try to really get that up to par in the NFL, and it really didn't look like it made much of a difference in 2020. Because of that, Tom Brady, Cam Newton, Tom Brady especially, weren't too confident in throwing the ball to N'Keal Harry because the defensive back was always on the heels of N'Keal Harry because Harry was very, very limited in the amount of times that he was actually able to get separation. The thing about N'Keal Harry is that he's not a number 1 receiver. I don't believe he's a number 2, and he needs to be with a team. He needs to be in a franchise where he's not going to be a number 1 guy or not a number 2. They have other guys that the team can rely on, and N'Keal Harry can kind of just go out there and be put up against less tough opponents. Kind of let him build himself up. The problem is that New England has not had receivers the past few years, so N'Keal Harry really is the number 1 to number 2 receiver. I don't see much changing for N'Keal Harry. I think that he could be a downfield threat, but not because of his speed, but because of his strong upper body. He's really great at contested catches, and again, that is something that in his play has translated into the NFL. I just think it's a situation where N'Keal Harry has to be on the exact same page as the quarterback he's playing with, and they have to have a great bond and great trust, and I just don't think that's something that he's had here in New England. Now, the teams that are interested or reportedly interested in him makes a ton of sense. If you're the Arizona Cardinals, makes the most sense, They're still looking for a top-notch wide receiver. Christian Kirk, they believe, is more of a number 3 guy. Andy Isabella, I believe, hasn't been used right, but hasn't exactly worked out for them as they were hoping. They have their number 1 guy in D-Hop. They're hoping N'Keal Harry could be that number 2 guy. The Cardinals also did want to draft N'Keal Harry in the 2nd round, but the Patriots jumped and grabbed him at 32, which upset a lot of Cardinals fans because, before he entered the league, a lot of people were expecting the Cardinals to draft him and for N'Keal Harry to be kind of that next Larry Fitzgerald, which I personally don't agree with, and I think he's proven he's not the next Larry Fitzgerald, but before he entered the NFL, that's what Cardinals fans and reporters were thinking. As for the Giants, this also makes a ton of sense because of Joe Judge. Joe Judge also used to not just be the Patriots special teams coach, but the wide receivers coach in his final year, so he does have some familiarity with him. Maybe he thinks that he could get more out of N'Keal Harry. Of course, because he is a former coach in New England, there are those ties. In fact, here's what Joe Judge had to say about N'Keal Harry in a 2019 interview. He said, he missed a lot of ball early on. He had the IR situation. You can only do so much when you're working to get back off injury. He did a good job as far as getting his body healthy and coming back. You don't just jump back in. It's not fantasy football where you take players, plug them in, and all of a sudden everyone starts collecting points. It takes a lot to find a rhythm and to find some confidence in the offense, but he's doing a good job. I've been pleased, which is what Joe Judge said. That's definitely shown. It's something we saw when he was in college, a strength that we liked about him. He plays good with aggressiveness. He plays to his size, which is key. You can't have a big guy try to play small, and he's played up to how big he is right now. Now, I somewhat agree with what Joe Judge said. I agree with most of it, but I don't necessarily agree that N'Keal Harry has played up to his physical size, and maybe that is partially because of New England. I will say New England has really tried to use him in a variety of different ways, but they've tried to use him as more of a route runner and a guy who could get separation, and they try to use him on routes that rely on getting separation instead of, hey, just let him run a go route, have him run a slant, and just give him the ball. He's not going to get separation. You're not going to be confident in the distance between him and the defender, but he has a strong body, he has strong hands, and although he doesn't have the separation, you got to rely on his ability to come down with the ball. Now, I am definitely very upset things have not panned out with the Patriots and N'Keal Harry, but I do love who N'Keal Harry has been as a person. He hasn't complained. He's done what he's asked. He's constantly tried to get better. He's always been humble. So who he is off the field is a tremendous guy who fits perfectly in New England. But what we've seen from him, at least so far in 2 years with the team, he has not done anything. In fact, he's only had one game in his entire NFL career with more than 50 yards. He's definitely had opportunity with the New England Patriots, especially with a team that, again, who has struggled to find pass catchers the past few seasons. So it's not that he hasn't had the opportunity, but I do believe with the right quarterback in the right franchise and the right offensive scheme, N'Keal Harry could be more successful. But I do not see N'Keal Harry being a 1,000-yard receiver at all in the NFL. I don't believe he's going to be that kind of guy ever, no matter what team he's with. For us New England Patriots fans, the big question comes down to what does Bill Belichick want to do? Now, if he does want to trade N'Keal Harry, now is going to be the time. You're going to get the most value out of him right now unless you keep him for one more year and he just bangs out in 2021, which, looking at the track record, you probably don't want to bet on. Again, N'Keal is on a rookie contract, has 2 years left on that contract, so you're probably going to get the most out of him right now, especially because he's not injured. Now, what could the Pats get for him? This is going to be super controversial. I've heard people saying a 7th and that the Patriots would be lucky to get a 6th. I don't think so. I think they could potentially get more. I don't think they could get a 1st, a 2nd, probably can't even get a 3rd. They'd be lucky to get a 4th. But N'Keal Harry is still a first-round pick. He's still a first-round talent. And he's on a rookie deal for 2 years left. And although he hasn't produced spectacularly, he has still produced much more than we've seen other players in the NFL go for a 6th or 7th round pick. So I do think that he definitely won't go for a 7th round. I think that his value is higher than a 7th round pick, especially when you have to factor in that there's multiple teams interested in him also. But the thing is Belichick going to be willing to trade him? Right? I think it's all going to come down to value. What could the Patriots get for him? If they don't really get great value, like if they just get a 6th or 7th round pick, I can see Belichick saying, it's worth just keeping him on here. He's on a rookie deal for 2 years left. I spent a 1st round pick on him. Let's see what he's got. So I think if teams really do want N'Keal Harry on their team, they're going to have to spice up the deal a little bit for Belichick to be like, all right, fine, I'll ship off, my only 1st round pick at wide receiver. Now, before we do end this one off, I do want to let you guys know about my boys and the opportunities over at betonline.ag. Now, BetOnline has the fastest and easiest ways to bet on all of your sports action. Football might be over, but NBA, college basketball, and the NHL are still in full swing. BetOnline even covers awards, TV shows, and reality TV and has real-time updated odds and props on almost anything you can imagine. BetOnline also has you covered for all of the news, scores, and odds, and it is the best way for you to place your bets, and it's completely free to sign up, y'all. All you got to do is head to the website or use your mobile device today to sign up and receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. Again, that is BetOnline, your online sports books. Do not sit on the sidelines anymore. Get in with the action, y'all. Do not forget to use that promo code CLNS50 for a 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. But y'all, NFL free agency is about to begin less than a week. Super excited. So many roster moves and rumors already going around. Trades, signings. tags. Everything is happening. Super excited to where this is going to go. N'Keal Harry is receiving some interest from teams. Will the Patriots trade him? Will they not? Do you want the Patriots to trade him or not? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember, you guys, give this video a big thumbs up. It seriously helps me and the channel out, along with subscribing and telling some of your friends or family about it. Like always, though, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.